Another extension that's possible is the star point extension. 3-space large, well, I guess it's a super large knight's move, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
In this case, black is looking to kind of lightly treat all the stones on the board. He's still looking for influence, that's why he's playing high, and we'll see how that plays out in a moment. But he's treating the rest of the stones lightly. And notice that white can no longer kick.
Right. If white kicks, then black goes ahead and gets that perfect extension that he likes. So white will avoid doing that.
Also, it's good to note, if you put that back, that this extension, this ideal extension, works on the fourth or the third line. It's okay either way. I don't think we discussed that before we talked about the third line. But even this is perfectly okay, and territory-wise, it's better.
Right. Okay. So there are then a couple of options for white here. I think we discussed that white could possibly tanuki in this situation, but
and probably would.
But that gets more complicated. If he did tanuki, he's obviously leaving this very flexible. He's also treating this stuff lightly. But let's discuss what happens, though, if white, instead of tanuking, goes ahead and tries to split.
Black has a few things that might come to mind. Black might think, well, I'll just jump out with this stone, save the stone. It's possible, but it leads to a big running fight.
This is complicated.
It's very complicated because this doesn't have any eyes, this doesn't have any eyes, and this stone is weak. Mm-hmm. So therefore, all of this is going to turn into a big, complicated fight that requires a lot of reading.
Right. And for that matter, this stuff over here is still...
It's not
far from settled.
Yeah, and reading is, I mean,
you hate reading, don't you?
We're losers.
Yeah.
This is Joseki for whatever.
Not for readers.
Not for readers, yeah. So the other option that black might think is maybe jump in. Mm-hmm. Possible. It's possible, but here's the problem with that. Let's just play it out.
And we went through this variation in detail on the 3-space extension.
Yeah, we've seen
so, get more details on
black tries to get some eye space here. White stops him. Black extends up. This is Sente because black has to play here, otherwise he dies.
And now white comes away with Sente. He can tanuki. He can go here and eat this stone and get all of this influence, and this is pretty minor.
And I'll put that back. And also, notice that you got all this thickness here. This stone doesn't have many friends, and it's too close to thickness. I think we talked about... Did we talk about that principle? Don't play too close to thickness.
I don't remember.
If we didn't, here's a new principle. Don't play too close to thickness.
Right.
You don't want to play a stone, even retrospectively, that is too close to thickness. And after this is done, this little stone here is too far away from this stone to be useful, and is too close to something that's strong. The general idea here is that this stone can come under attack now, and doesn't have anywhere to run. So that's the general idea, which is why black probably wouldn't want to take this unless this is the biggest thing on the board. If this is the biggest thing on the board, then go for it.
Or maybe if there's something already in place that would negate all of this influence,
yeah that's a good point,
so that it doesn't count. But
so we don't do that.
Right, so that was this move.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So then the third option, and the option we're going to spend most time on, is the attachment. This is I guess you'd call it the pro move. This is the move that is most accepted as correct.
Right. So the first thing white will do is to wedge.
He can play just an extension, but if he plays the extension, it's a little passive.
Yeah, black will just...
Black can go there, or even go there and kind of just
looks sad and small, even if he
lives.
But this is a little more aggressive.
So black will, and the reason for this move. Okay, we're talking about reasons.
Yeah.
The reason for this move and not this move is this move, after this progression is played out, creates weaknesses.
Right.
White's wedge makes black weaker, and when a shape is weaker, then it has to spend moves defending itself, which can lead to Sente.
Right. And which we're going to see immediately because...
well, not yet, because it's Black's turn.
Right.
But if Black was to Tanuki and White got this move, then it would put too much pressure on this. It would lead to a large corner for White if this dies, and it's just bad. So Black doesn't do that. Black has to defend. He extends.
So he has to defend the weakness on that side. White
has to do that.
Right.
Because if Black plays here, White dies. Notice that Black can't seal White in here because of that.
This will be a capturing race, and Black will lose.
And Black will lose. So Black can't go there, so he has to extend.
White actually has enough liberties on this side that he can afford to do a one-space jump to continue to try to make eye space under here.
Which is pretty common. 1, 2, 3 jump. Joseki says that all the time.
Yeah.
So when you've got 3 stones, especially on the third line, you can jump one space.
Right.
All right, here, Black might be thinking, I'm good. White can't directly kill me. I can take a big point elsewhere. Maybe here.
Right.
Maybe Senrensei. If that happens, White gets to play that move, which might not look that bad to some of you viewers, but it really is. And this is one of those things where you need to train yourself to spot this kind of thing, because what is Black looking for here? Black is looking for influence towards the center. This move, while not immediately taking that away, requires Black to respond in a way that gives Black's shape more weaknesses than it had before. If Black had a move here, this move would not be a big deal. Black would be okay with that. But Black has to respond to this, and now
there are cutting points all over the place.
And
he wants thickness toward the center. This thing here doesn't really qualify as thick.
Yeah, it's going to be struggling to live, to find eye space. In the meantime, White will be directing Black's shape and getting territory and ruining Black's territory or potential territory in the future.
Right.
So here's the principle: don't let your opponent control the shape of your groups.
Right. Right. And when White makes this move here, he's in control. Black has no choice but to cap there. He doesn't. It's the only follow-up, and it's a bad follow-up.
Right. Yeah. So Black doesn't do that. Doesn't let White take that move. Instead, he responds with nice, standard, solid play.
So White, again, has to continue to make eye space. If Black goes here, White has to respond to this, or he will die.
Descend. And he will live. White will live.
So
here.
in this situation, White would live, but Black is really now going to actually develop a strong shape. Right? He's going to get influence. White just doesn't get anything good. There was. What did he get out of jumping in here and trying to split now? Nothing.
So here's the general idea here, and you probably learned this when you were 18Q. Don't let yourself get sealed in. This White group is alive, and it's getting a handful of points. But it's not... The handful of points that you're getting over here is not worth giving Black all this influence. So White would not allow that. He has to extend.
Right. He's also not strong enough to do something like that either.
Yeah, good point.
So because of the cut.
Black is more than happy to give White a couple of points, 2 points, for potential fighting thickness later on in the game.
Right. And I believe White still actually has to make one more move along the side here.
Yeah. This is just a reading thing, because while it's true that if Black gets this move, White can still live.
Right.
It's okay. But the whole point is...
it's the same thing again.
It's the same thing, and don't get sealed in.
Right.
At least if you're going to get sealed in, make sure it's worth it.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
So this is Sente, because if White doesn't respond, if white takes a big move elsewhere,
Right.
this move kills white.
Yeah.
And we read it out ahead of time, and we found out that it's true. We didn't know it before we did, but it's true. This move will kill white.
Right. So white has to do that.
It sends one more time, and black again is happy to make a wall. And now it's over, because if black plays here,
That's not even Sente anymore.
it's not his turn. But if white got
Sure.
a big move elsewhere, and
Yeah. And all his stones stayed in the same
yeah.
spot.
yeah, move there.
What? Yeah.
If black goes here, white does not need to respond to this move. This is
Right.
not Sente.
Right.
So so white could play something else. Okay, so since white is unequivocally alive, this ends the Joseki, and we can analyze it. So what did white get?
Well, white got a few points of territory.
How many?
Like 4.
More than that, right?
Think so?
Count that. We got one of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Maybe 11 points of territory.
You think he's going to end up because he's going to take 4 out of that?
He's not going to take 4. This is why we're not professionals.
Yeah. I mean,
He's going to get something like that.
yeah. All right, sure. White'll get 25 points of territory there.
Dream territory.
No. All right, White will get some territory, but it won't be huge. He does come away with Sente, and he's got some development here.
He's somewhat weak in this corner because this still has a poke in.
Right.
Sente's a big deal in this scenario because all black did was create a wall. Black got no points.
Right.
This whole thing.
And didn't get Sente, but he did get massive influence.
So, for instance, maybe a split or an approach, maybe a distant approach to this corner would be a good next move in order to negate any potential. Maybe that's too close. Something like that would probably be best.
Yeah, don't play close to
Don't play
thickness.
close to that. I didn't say that. So, the idea here is that Sente is important because black didn't get any points. Nevertheless,
That's so big that even with a little Sente, it's...
yeah, I think it's better for black. I think everybody would pretty much say it's better for black. Because black now can fight anywhere on the board and not be overly concerned because all ladders lead to black.
Right.
So in the end, I think if it was just this board position, the situation is best for black.